Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the MLS Now podcast pre-season party extravaganza celebration festival, whatever word you want to use. That's entirely up to you because there's a million teams, 30 teams, but there's a lot of teams in MLS to preview, and there's just as many words to celebrate the season coming up. So before that, though, as a reminder, as always, I'm your host, Russell. You can find me on social media at Mr. Dangerous, and you can find the podcast on social media at MLS Now Podcast. Coming in hot and fresh into the league, and our 7th so far now, preview of the season. Many have been asking. We're here to deliver. It's Carlos and Vince from SDFC Bros here to preview. Stop me if you heard this before. SDFC. So, guys, welcome in. Happy to have you here. Excited to finally connect. We've been talking, for context, for probably like 2 hours prior to this. So, we're well and truly warmed up. I think we're ready to talk finally about SDFC, right?
Yeah, definitely. Good to be here. Good to finally get this underway. And, you know, the season is right around the corner. So we're excited as San Diego FC fans to get it underway.
Very excited. We started from nothing, I think, and then now it's just finally having a team in our hometown is going to be amazing, and just to be able to talk with you guys about it, it's going to be even better. So,
yeah. Well, look, I can still recollect the excitement. FC Cincinnati is not quite 10 years old yet, and my memory is not that bad yet that I've forgotten the excitement, feeling that, we had an MLS team come into the league. So I'm excited for both of you to be able to experience your first season in. I hope it goes better for you than my first season did. Wooden spoon winner Cincinnati, but you guys already look like you've got some good heads leading the team, if you will. And so maybe a good way to introduce people would be just like quick background, right? Like, where's the team, where's the team originate from? Who's in charge of it? Are you worried about any experience? And then normally I would say, what are the changes for all these teams? For you guys, every new player is a change. So maybe just a quick highlight, like important signings to keep an eye out on.
The expectation, I think, for San Diego FC was that Mikey Varas, right out the gate, said that they want to be competitive. And Chucky Lozano, our face of the team, has said that they want to be competitive. They want to make a playoff spot. And I mean, from the signings that we've made so far, on paper, Mikey Varas has said that there's strong leadership and experience. I mean, you got Patty McNair playing at a high level matches in the Premier League with Manchester United. Andres Reyes, who just made the MLS final, right, just last season. I mean, he didn't play in the final, but, keeping 3 clean sheets in 5 games played a big part in that. Marcusine Vartson, I know you guys were talking about him like a couple episodes back. Where is he going to kind of play out? But, I mean, playing in UEFA level competitions a couple years ago. And then, Anders Dreyer is one of our most recent signings. And he is definitely going to be kind of the catalyst, I feel like, in this attack. And then, I mean, Chucky Lozano needs no real introduction, to be honest. I mean, global star for me. And I mean, in Mexico as well. So he's got a big following around him. And I mean, there's loads of other players as well. And like how we were kind of talking about earlier, where the quality is there, it's just about kind of applying it on the pitch. And that's kind of the talk of the town, how San Diego is kind of thinking, okay, is this an actual team that we can kind of get behind with good results as well?
Exactly.
What about you, Carlos?
Like again, for me, it's a little interesting because it's weird because it's just we're starting something brand new. We're starting something that hasn't existed with this right to dream. And when you see a lot of new teams that are starting up and everything, like you get all these players and they, the coach, and we're going to fit the coach to this style. And with San Diego C and doing right to dream, it's like, we have our style. This is how we're going to do it. Now we need to get the players who are going to be key in this style. So for me, it's a little interesting. Like, we can sign names left and right, but for me, it's going to be weird to, acclimate these players to this style that's going to be brand new, and that you're going to have to seriously sit there and say, no, we're going to be playing this way and learn and forget everything that you learned before. We want to play this style, and that's where we're going to grow. So I don't know. For me, I want to be saying all these big names and all these things, but when it comes down to it at the very end, we got to wait and see how Mikey Vadas is going to coach these players and if this style is really going to be an important style for us. And I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, is just the right to dream, and the way we're going with it is really going to be if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, are we restarting? Are we rebranding? That's the real talk.
Yeah, and to kind of bounce off of that, for people that are watching and listening who don't know what Right to Dream is, it's the youth academy that San Diego FC is partnering with through all around the world, right? FC Nordsjælland is a team in Denmark who has this real big emphasis on Right to Dream, and what the Right to Dream style is it's an emphasis on team play, link up ability, and creativity at the forefront of it, playing out the press, keeping possession, and passing with purpose with a forward initiative, right? So, and defensively, it's space oriented, right? So playing compactly and reading the game and anticipating. So you're kind of expecting San Diego FC to kind of be very offensively aggressive, which I have kind of my concerns about, because I'm a very, strict, keep the clean sheet. I'd rather win a game 1-0 than 3-2. So it's like, for me, it's like, is San Diego FC going to be this offensively, and he's shaking his head, but is San Diego FC going to be this offensive juggernaut while conceding, 2 goals on the bounce? So that's kind of my gripe with Right to Dream style of play, but regardless of the fact, is it's going to be something entertaining to watch, I think.
I think what stands out to me, and this actually gives me maybe, I hope it's not misplaced optimism or too early optimism. It almost reminds me of St. Louis City. When they came into the league, they started off by building out
Right.
like their academy as well, like St. Louis City too. And they built a style, they built an identity of how they wanted players to play. They got, they got them acclimated to the idea before they actually went into the league, and it showed very well because they took the league by storm when they came in. I mean, they were pressing everywhere. They were causing turnovers way up the pitch. They were being menaces, and some people probably having nightmares about poor back passes that turned into goals. And I think they don't see that level of success if they didn't have that time to build an identity and to build a style. So hearing that San Diego has very clearly partnered with Right to Dream, and there's a clear and defined style, and you can talk to other people who have played that style. You can get their insight, their input. Hey, who are players who fit this? Like, let's collaborate, and we're all partnered on this Right to Dream initiative. It makes me feel good about San Diego's chances to come out and immediately look competent and coherent on the pitch. It's not, it's not looking at it like maybe FC Cincinnati did again, our first season, where we're like, yeah, we looked good the first week, and then the second week we're like, oh, we looked okay, and then week 5, 6, we were like, we're not very good.
Yeah, and I think that kind of just comes back to like a lot of people and a lot of buzz in the city is like, oh, well, we don't have, like, Chuki's a star player, they are, but for a new expansion team, people are looking for names like Messi or Carlos Vela and all that stuff. And for me, it's hard to like explain to somebody like, we're building the Right to Dream. Like, you can't just bring a star name and be like, jump into this, And so I think what SDFC's more approach is like, we're looking for players that are going to be able to fit that system versus like the big names, because we're really, and what we've seen and what we've talked to like a lot of the more officials is like, they really we're buying into this idea of the Right to Dream, and that's what we want to build. And we really need players who are going to build that and work with us to do that and fall in line with that. And I think we have them with the players that we have. They're not the biggest names, but they are it seems like players who are willing to work with us. And again, like even having Mikey Varas as a coach, he's a brand new coach, and he hasn't brought his own style. He's perfect to come in and like let's run with this right to dream style. Let's put it in, and I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm excited for it truly, and even for the future. It kind of feels really nice to know that we have kids that are going to be growing up in our backyard right now, learning that, and could possibly be joining the first team anytime soon.
Let me put you
Uh-huh.
guys on the spot here. Right to dream, right? We're talking about building up people for the future. Already talked about, Chucky Lozano, big name. Tell me who each of you think is not the big name, but they're going to turn into an important, maybe even a breakout
So
player
for
this
I
year.
think
me,
we both agree on the same one.
so for me, so I'm gonna say, and we drafted this player, and it's Manu Dua. This
Yeah.
is a center mid, right? Kind of says that he likes, so he's a deep line playmaker, right? He really great with close quarters dribbling, ability to break in the lines, and he was the number one pick, right? I mean, San Diego FC got the number one pick, so Manu Dua was one of those guys, and just kind of looking at footage, right? Just eye test, right? Just this guy's sensational, right?
So quick.
He's quick and he's big, he's tall. He said that his idol, his football idol, is Sergio Busquets. I think that alone just shows like kind of where his football IQ is at. Because I mean, Sergio Busquets, in those prime Barcelona teams was a pillar, right? He was one of the main components to make those Pep Guardiola teams as great as they were, even though Busquets was kind of a little overlooked, right? Because of Iniesta and Xavi Messi, right? But Busquets was there. So I feel like Manu Dua being, number one pick and like everything like that, I think that he will be one of those players to kind of look at in terms of quality and ability as well.
Yeah, and also with that, like, with some training videos that we've been seeing and everything, like he's already like scoring goals, and I think we've had like some scrimmages here and there, and he's already scoring goals, and him and Chuke are kind of linking up really nice. So I don't know, it's an interesting take, and he's a little bit younger, but I think he's fitting in exactly into what in our niche that we need. But we are kind of looking at a striker that we might need. That's the biggest thing.
I can tell you, it's important you get those right. Again, Cincinnati has done so many things over the years wrong that like we're the case study of being like, hey, don't do it like they did it.
Exactly.
So, whoever you get, as long as they fit your style, instead of, trying to be like, hey, we're gonna make our style
Yeah,
fit
and I
them.
think Yeah.
Maybe don't do that.
And I think what's great about a right to dream system is it's literally just a plug and play, right? So it's like you have guys like Marcus Ingvartsen who was at FC Nordjylland who already knows this style. You have guys like Jeppe Sverskov who already know this style. So it's like you're bringing in guys who kind of already are bought into the system, and like how we were talking about earlier, how important it is to have these players on board to play at this type of level. And if they're already familiar with it, I think it just makes it a lot easier for an environment, a new environment like San Diego FC, for all those guys to be like, you know what, yeah, I'm willing to press, even though so and so isn't pulling their own weight and everything like that. And I think it's important to have a good locker room like that, guys who are familiar with certain environments and everything like that. And I mean, I feel like San Diego FC is turning Danish. We got Jeppe, we got Marcus Ingvartsen, we got Anders Dreyer, like, you know what I mean? So it's like we're kind of adopting that true right to dream kind of culture in San Diego FC. And to be honest, I like it. I'm here for it. It's something that me as a fan, as a consumer, can buy into.
Okay. So I think it's easy for me to tell after talking with you this long that you're anything but the average consumer, though.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think the average San Diego FC fan is going to see right now? Like, are they seeing the same things as you, or are they still like starstruck? They're like, oh my gosh, Chucky Lozano. Like, it doesn't matter what else is going on. Like,
Yeah.
where's their
So I
mind
would
at?
go, and with just basic conversations that I have with everybody is, where's De Bruyne? Where's De Bruyne? Like, it's just like, we want that big name. It's just like, I don't, and I can explain left and right, like the right to dream, it's this, and they're like, But LAFC, they got Carlos Vela, they had Chicharito, they have and LA Galaxy, they have Marcus Royce. Where's ours? Why we need a big name here? And I'm just like, I wish you could just buy into the dream that we're having as well too. But the average consumer is like, oh, we heard Chucky first. Oh, we were ready. We were excited. Now we need a bigger name. And don't get me wrong, Chucky's a huge name, and I know he's going to be a fan favorite, but the fans are craving a big name. They're craving a big name, and I think they're a little let down going into this next season, into the season only having Chucky as that name. And I think they really bought into the idea like if Chucky is the first signing that we have, I can't wait to see who the next big signing is. And it's just not there. But like I was telling him, it's just like honestly, right now we don't have a lot of retired players like we used to when MLS was starting. Like MLS has kind of taken some, or they're going straight to Saudi Arabia. So we're kind of are in a little weird spot. But who knows? Summer De Bruyne could be coming.
Maybe. But look, you're not going to hear me complain about fewer retired players. I'll still never forget Gonzalo Higuain was on an interview. He's like, oh yeah, I thought I was just going to go to MLS and I was going to, be able to walk around the pitch and smoke cigarettes. And it's just like, he did not just say that. And it's like, he did say that. And I'm like, that seems on brand, but no, that's not MLS anymore. That hasn't been MLS in like probably 15 years prior to him being here.
It's like, you're talking, 15 years or, kind of just in that realm when, kind of big names were coming into the league. Obviously, Beckham was a huge thing. Henry, I remember Alessandro Nesta went to Montreal, and that was like a huge thing kind of for us Italians, because it was like, why is this guy going to MLS? Why doesn't he stay in Italy? So it's like, now MLS has like a new culture where it's like, yeah, you don't really have to bring the best star names. It's like nobody knew who Anders Dreyer was, right? But it's like you look at his output. And then last season for Anderlecht, he dropped 19 goals, 9 assists in 37 games. That's sensational. And I remember a podcast that I was listening to by you guys, and you're saying kind of the Belgian league is a similar talent level to MLS. So it's like, what are we saying? Anders Dreyer is, in my opinion, I think he is going to be one of those catalysts. People are talking, oh, Chucky this, Chucky that. But we got Dreyer, man. We got Dreyer on that right-hand side who's going to cause problems and got a sweet left foot. So if that's one player I'm also excited for, I know I said Manu Dua, but Anders Dreyer, man, that's also one to watch for me as well.
I appreciate you guys listening and already remembering our, I don't even want to call them bold predictions. Like it's just, it's a statement of fact. Like MLS has gotten better across the league. Like it's great, and now we're starting to see the teams go after players like, Emmanuel Latte-Loth right down in Atlanta. And it's like, that's not a player that comes to MLS 5 years ago, maybe not even 3 years ago.
No, and like you said, it isn't. And that's why I feel a little bit more confident in San Diego FC's vision with it. We don't need that big signing. I think we can build it and go from there. And honestly, LAFC, when they first came in, they came in kind of good, but they only had Carlos Vela as their biggest talent, and they did pretty good as well. So, and I don't think people, when they heard Carlos Vela was going to be coming to LAFC, they were out here being like, oh my God, he's going to be amazing. I think they were like, Carlos Vela who? And he showed out. So maybe Chucky can do the same. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, look, Arsenal fan here.
Of course. Yeah, you did. But
I felt very vindicated when he was scoring more than 1 point. Like, I think he was like 1.06 goals per 90 in his like big season, which is incredible to do that across the span of a season. I mean,
yeah, he's definitely like one of those MLS greats. And like, you kind of think about guys like a Giovinco as well, or, kind of profiles like that who really took the league, to storm, where it's like, I'm sure, you have like an Italian population in Toronto, but it's like apart from, Toronto, maybe as like a Real Salt Lake, you got this short guy coming from Juventus who's a deadbeat, right? That's what us Italians kind of thought, you got this guy coming to MLS who maybe he's kind of washed, but for me, Giovinco is definitely a top 3 player in MLS history for me. Like he's there, he's in those conversations for me. And, he really wasn't that crazy at Juventus, but it's like it's about, you know, harnessing that talent in your squad and kind of bringing out the best. And if this San Diego FC team can get the best out of guys like a Chucky Lozano who can drop, you know, stats like a Carlos Vela, then that is something that I think a lot of the fans in San Diego can get behind.
Right, and I know you guys were talking about that last time too, like who's gonna be our main goal scorer, and can Chucky even fall into that? But I have hope. I think he can. You give him that position, I think he'll be able to take it. And honestly, you know, from what we've seen, and like seeing him when they presented him, he fell in love with this city. You could tell right away, like he is in love with this city. My friend actually just ran into him at the mall the other day. He was working there, and he's like, oh, let's go San Diego FC. And Chucky was like, let's go, we're ready to win. Like he's like, it seems like he feels the love that's here. And like I said, when they presented him, I don't think in his mind he ever thought he'd get that feeling from the fans and everything. And you know, being as because even when he played for Mexico, he wasn't the star. He wasn't everything. But coming to San Diego FC, I think he feels that, and now he's ready to really, really do the best he can. And you can see it in his face that I think he's gonna really fall in love with this city, and we just might fall in love with him as well, like drastically.
Yeah, and also to kind of bounce off of that as well, it's like, you know, Chucky came out on MLS Media Day saying that my goal is to make the playoffs, right? And he wants to be a champion. He wants to make a statement. So it's like if the face of your team, if the face of San Diego FC, this new brand, the 30th franchise of MLS, is saying this, and you know, you're getting guys that are coming into the team, and if you got someone like Chucky saying that, then you're gonna want to, you know, play for that. And I mean, just to kind of give a little context, we made a little video for like San Diego FC. They had a bunch of fans, you know, saying like, oh, like what does it mean to play for San Diego and whatnot, or rather to have a team in San Diego. And they showed that to the players. So it's like I think the players kind of understand what this badge over here means to the city. It's more than like a team. It's like, I don't know. It's there's just some sort of energy about it. Whereas it's like they're trying to build a proper culture here.
And just the piggy off back of him, and I know we're going a little bit into it, but like we're really excited. Like I just gotta say, like
You should be excited.
It's just like
exciting.
Saying the culture is just so like it's something different. It's something that you can feel because we've been going to these events like left and right. This Chrome Ball tour where San Diego FC has gone to all 18 cities in San Diego and just try to get the community out, the kids playing soccer, everything. Mikey Varas, our coach, goes out and is with the supporters. He sits there and takes photos with children, with kids, and is just, what do I want to hear from you? What do I want to hear from you? You tell me, talk to me. I want you. And it's like, that's insane, you know? To have a coach that's willing to sit there and talk to the fans and excited and is happy and will start speaking Spanish and English and everything. And just, it's like, you can feel that they want this to be like for the fans. And he's told us left and right what he wants to instill in the players is who you are playing for. You are playing for the city. And we're, like I said, excited more than ever.
Yeah. I think it's a fun trivia fact for listeners. It's a less fun fact for you guys, but this is the second professional team in San Diego as of right now. You mentioned earlier the only other professional, like, you know, major team, I should say, and because I don't want someone to come at us later and be like, excuse me, we actually have professional badminton in San Diego. And I'd be like, you know what? Hey, that's on me, right? But it's like a second like major, you know, professional sport team now coming to San Diego. It's not just the Padres anymore. Do you think that you guys benefit? Well, I guess you clearly think you benefit from being the second team, but do you think the team itself was surprised how much love and how much, you know, turnout from the fans has come? Maybe they were like, well, we're the second team. Like, who else are they going to watch? But like, has it been above and beyond what even maybe they thought?
I mean, you know, I think it goes to show San Diego's never won a championship, right? We had the Padres, we had the Chargers, right? None of these men could deliver, right? When push comes to shove, none of them won a championship, right? Padres are so up and down. The Chargers had their own problems. I think what's really good about San Diego FC starting fresh is it's like the fan base has something to kind of look towards, right? There's not this huge kind of like, I mean, there is pressure per se, but it's like there's not like in a massive expectation to like obviously go out and win the league and everything like that. The club and whatnot are saying that they want to do that, but I think the fans are kind of having that, okay, we're not going to go out day one guns blazing, but there's that vision of doing it. So it's like kind of going off of that, it's like the overwhelming support of that has been, I think, surprising to, I think, a lot of people, certainly myself, because we were talking about San Diego Loyal a little earlier and how they had such kind of like a cult following, right? Where, they were ride or dies, right? San Diego Loyal fans were there, right? So then San Diego FC kind of comes in, kind of, steps all over them and whatnot, kind of takes over the soccer space, right? So it's like now it's like you kind of have a fresh foundation for San Diego sports fans to really look at and kind of get behind.
Yeah, and I think just to go off of him, like I think what San Diego C did is like with the Chrome Ball tours is it started off small, and you would have just like like some pickup games here they did like for the Chrome Ball tour, and so some people would show up and everything. But then as word started going, like San Diego has a lot of kids who play soccer, like a ton of kids that play soccer, and as parents you're just like, okay, well I'm gonna put my kid in soccer, they're gonna play a sport. But as San Diego FC starts coming in, you now start picking up on these parents who probably had no care of soccer at all, are now listening to this brand new team and, oh, my son gets to play here and this and the right to dream. And all of a sudden you start getting these fans picked up left and right and left. And you're just like, no, like this is something that a team that I can believe in. And then when you have support from one of our co-owners, Manny Machado, who's a Padre, it even like instills more of like, hey, you're a Padre fan, you're an SDFC fan now too. We have to ride together. And now we have the Padres and SDFC, like they'll make like collaborations or like like congratulations to the Padres. And it's now beginning to feel like if whatever, we're all San Diego, whatever we are, we're a fan of that team. We're always going to be a fan of that team. And I know if San Diego FC gets far, people who don't even watch soccer are going to show up and be like, let's go, because the city wants a championship. The city wants something to bond over.
Okay, so I'm loving the easy segues on this. You guys are making my life easy here. So we're just talking expectations. We're talking championships. So 2-part question. Where do you guys personally sit on expectations? And then where do you think, again, average fan, where do you think they sit on expectations?
Yeah, I mean, the truth of the matter is this. We haven't kicked a ball yet. We do not know what this team looks like in a football like in terms of football, right? We're having like friendly matches, right, against Phoenix Rising and stuff like that, and all the fans are dying. We need footage. Where can we watch the game? Da 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 da. Whereas it's like it was like a locked, like no one knew the scores to any of these games, right? And then San Diego FC out of the blue, they were like, oh, like they just started dropping goal videos, right? And people went crazy. So it's like my expectations are interesting because we still have the Coachella Valley Invitational tournament that's happening tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's the first game. I don't know when this is coming out, but tomorrow's Saturday. So that's when, and we play New York City FC, I believe. So the expectations kind of rely, for me, I'm really going to get a full kind of analysis on where San Diego FC lies on that next game tomorrow. But right now, if we're talking February 7th, 9:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Right. I was going to say, speak for yourself. It's February 8th.
Yeah, because right. Tomorrow, and he's already in tomorrow.
So right now,
yeah.
I think
I'll let you know how Coachella goes. Don't worry.
But I think San Diego FC has a great chance of making the playoffs. Bare minimum 8th place. I think 8th place, you get in the playoffs, kind of see where you can go. And we've seen teams where you can get 8th place and get to the final. Literally just last year, New York City Red Bulls, they got 8th place in the Eastern Conference final, and they went to the final. Yeah, they lost to LA Galaxy, but, that was an LA Galaxy team that was, off the charts. They were they were insane, right? So that's kind of my expectations going into this next upcoming season is 8th place realistically.
So I'll jump in with him as like a somebody who's invested in this. I think we definitely can get to playoffs. I think that's the hope. That's the expectations. I think for an average fan, just what we've heard from San Diego is they just want to see them play. They want to see them play good and just have a fun time. I think as long as they can see and feel that the team is giving them what they are producing, I think they're okay with where it lands. And if we make playoffs, then even better. But I think more than anything, they just want to be able to look at that team and say, oh, there's a spark. I don't think they want to be in there and be like, which is going to be so tough because our first game is against LA Galaxy. So it's just like
away from home as well.
Yeah.
It's not a bad time to play them, though. I mean, Pooj is out until
you
summer.
still have Royce, but still, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but I mean, is Royce going 90 minutes?
You're lucky if you can get 15 in there.
I have a question for you. So obviously, we're gonna be doing it's gonna be LA versus SDFC. Just as a prediction for you, who do you think is gonna be our bigger rival? LA Galaxy, LAFC, and what should we be calling this derby?
That's which one? Carson is closer to San Diego,
one
right?
LAFC's is closer, actually. Carson's actually kind of outside.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to say LAFC then. LAFC's. I'm taking the low hanging fruit, the geographical closest rival.
Yeah, no.
Wait. Well, hold on. The Chargers play at SoFi Stadium, right? Who's closer to SoFi Stadium?
I think Carson.
LAFC still, right? Oh, okay. Then LA Galaxy, yeah.
I think it's gonna have to be one of those natural rivals that we'll see which ones, who plays harder or whatnot.
Someone said they were gonna call it the SoCal Showdown. I don't know how I feel about that one, but
that's not. I mean, that's not bad. Do you have any Are there any clear landmarks? So, for instance, FC Cincinnati and Columbus Crew is called Hell is Real because on the highway connecting the two cities, there's a billboard that says "Hell is Real" on it, and it was put up there by a businessman who, an evangelist businessman who put it there just as a message, right? And for whatever reason, people always see that, and you can tell people in Ohio, if you're driving down to Cincinnati and someone's like, "Hey, how long until you get to Cincinnati?" It's well, I just passed the Hell is Real sign. People will be like, "Oh, got it.
So
okay.
we
I know where you are."
A landmark like that, and I don't know, I don't know if we could name it though, but they're nuclear power plants, and they're
the boobs.
Yeah, that's what you can say that, but that's what we call. You're like, oh, we just passed the boobs.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's gonna be the.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just saying, that's the kind of thing that it can make a really fun title.
Actually.
Hey, I'm down for a boob derby. I'm not gonna lie.
Man, you call it the SoCal boob job.
Now we're cooking.
We'll see if one of the teams picks it up for us.
Yeah, I'm certain there's a plastic surgeon somewhere in Southern California that would be happy to put their name on that.
That is so funny.
Well, it'll be interesting to see which one is going to be the bigger rival, or even San Jose, because they're still in California as well.
Oh man,
it's way
San
too
Jose
far out.
That's up by what? I was gonna say that isn't San Jose more towards San Francisco direction?
5 hours away, I think, from San Diego. So it's a little while.
Okay, but here in the Midwest, we just don't drive.
No, not us.
Yeah, it's we don't have much in the Midwest. We got corn, we got a lot of farmland, so. But yeah, unfortunately, not much else. And if you want to take a flight to Chicago, it's you could drive 5 hours to Chicago, or you could take a $400 flight and just drive. Yeah, same thing. Cincinnati to Toronto, there's a direct flight here, and it's Air Canada is oh yes, you can fly. It's an hour and a half flight to Toronto. It is, however, $500 round trip per person for economy, and I'm I'll just drive. It's it's an 8-hour drive to Toronto, and the city's walkable, but also
Exactly.
you can drive in Toronto and it's fine. Yeah. Other than getting into Toronto, the traffic getting into Toronto is horrific. Just sit in traffic for 2 hours. If you're going from Rochester, if you go from Detroit, I don't know. Never gone that way.
Yeah,
But hey, Toronto, great city if you want to go visit it. Shameless plug for neither of our cities there. Not even in the country. Be like, oh yeah. Yeah. Look, if San Diego plays away in Toronto, I highly recommend it's an away trip.
I have the
really fun city
schedule right here.
I don't think we do.
I don't think. Oh, we do. July 16th.
Oh,
that's a home game actually. My fault.
No.
A shame. I was so excited for you guys. Like July, like perfect time, man, perfect time. You got 4th of July. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. So we talked expectations, right? Let's say that your expectations are wildly exceeded. You know, you find yourselves, you're in the playoffs, not just in the playoffs, you're in a home playoff spot. What do you guys think needs to happen? You know, what are let's say the 3 most key items that if you get these 3 things, that's how you get that home playoff spot?
You want to go?
Man, I can only
So I mean, we saw it with Inter Miami, right? Inter Miami last season, they got the most ever points, right? And they were sensational, right? But then off the top of my head, it's kind of, going away from me where they got knocked out in the playoffs. I don't know if you can. That's right.
Atlanta, to interim head coach Rob Valentino, just straight vibes guy, gets Atlanta, a dreadful Atlanta side, to get it over historic greats Miami.
So I think the 3 things, number one, I think for me, it's like, I think if San Diego FC can make Snapdragon Stadium a cauldron, right? A place where teams go, oh, we got to go to Snapdragon. That is going to be, I mean, and that could be a testament to any team, but for San Diego FC to be the new kids on the block, right? To, really be like, oh, we're going to go to San Diego steamroll. No shot. If Snapdragon is a cauldron where you go there, it's a tough place to play, tough environment, then I think that's number one, that could be played to our advantage. But also number 2, like I said earlier, if you can have a strong defense, then that, for me, defense wins championships at the end of the day. Then that's what I was saying. My only concern about kind of how San Diego plays is I think we're going to risk a lot out the back. And that's kind of my only kind of concern going into like these playoffs, because, it's kind of like you kind of have to take advantage of these opportunities. You know what I mean? And if it's like, if San Diego FC, if we're, talking this hypothetical where, we're exceeding expectations, let's say we get top of the conference, right? Then it's like you have that expectation to win. You're the best team in the Western Conference. So it's like at that point, you put that expectation on yourself. So it's only up to you and the team and the coach and the management to really, capitalize on that moment. And if you can, then, maybe you can talk about San Diego getting its first ever sports championship.
A lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure, yeah. But then it's like, if you put that expectation on yourself, you have to deliver. And I think that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I agree.
I dig it. But you're just taking all of his answers.
More than anything, like, for me, it's just having all these players just coexist and believe in one another and believing in the city, and it's just a lot of pressure in that as your first season to jump into that. I'd love to be like, oh, this is the exact answer, but I think it's soccer. At the end of the day, like that is a big pressure for any first team. Has anybody in MLS history done that? No, huh? Like won the championship.
Atlanta
did.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw they made Mercedes-Benz Stadium a crazy atmosphere.
But it's such a beautiful stadium
to go to play. Atlanta United were a tough team to play against. They had the likes of Almiron and Martinez, I believe, playing at a top level. And if you have, your two best players playing at a top level, then everybody on that team is going to fight for the badge and fight for the city as well. And I mean, I think Atlanta United pushed some great initiatives that I hope that San Diego FC can kind of adopt in the near future. But the fact of the matter is that that's a once in a blue moon. That's a Cinderella story for me. So it's like, to have that, of course, that would be awesome, right? To go in your debut season, win off the bounce, that would be crazy. But then it's like that also creates a culture and an atmosphere within the team, within the locker room, to kind of really, look at those moments and be like, we already did this. It's like, this is old news, so if that's, something that San Diego FC can do, then that would be awesome. That would be sensational. Of course, who wouldn't want to win a championship in their first year, but it's like, from what Mikey Varas has been saying, what Chucky Lozano has been saying, that is the expectation, to be competitive from day one. And I feel like with this transfer market that's been kind of going on, players that we're bringing in, I feel like we are pushing those initiatives to really be competitive from match day one. So I think, going into that game versus LA Galaxy is going to be huge.
Yeah, and just Mikey Varas told us, like, we spoke to him and we brought up, like, we're going against LA Galaxy. What do you think? And he goes, we're not going there to play possum or anything. We're going there to fight. We're going there to win. We want to win. And it's like, that's what we're going to do. And it's just, to hear that from a coach is like, all right, like, all in, we're going there to win.
Yeah. And look, an early winning streak in a season, like, look at what St. Louis did. They were dreadful to finish out the year that they took first place in the West, but they started so hot. I mean, they were uncatchable for basically the entire season, even once they started to regress, because they just had this huge lead. Like, you can't understate the importance of starting strong in this league, which is weird because, like, then you talk about the playoffs and it's like, well, it's like you can start super slow in this league and still make the playoffs like the Red Bulls, and then, still go on to the conference finals. But, like, in a way, you still need to finish. You need to start strong more than anything else, because those home spots matter.
100%. 100%. It's going to be interesting, and like you said, with the playoff thing, it's weird because, like you said, what's the point of starting off strong if you could play mid and then come in 8th place and do that? But for us, I think at least we want excellence right off the gate.
Yeah, I think that's a good attitude to have. Also, like, come on, we're fans in the stands, right? Like, who wants to go to a home match and sit there and be like, I don't care if we're slow and don't win this match. Like, no, I want to win every single one of these. I want to be LA Galaxy and go undefeated at home for a season.
And
like,
Mexico played against Germany, and everybody thought we were going to lose. They were all underdogs, and guess who came out on top and scored the game winner, Chucky Lozano. Guess who's going to do it again, LA Galaxy? Chucky Lozano. I believe it. There it is.
I'd love that. That would get, like, MLS communications account would be all over it.
Yeah, so, and, kind of just bouncing off of that, and it's like, I think from, if we're taking off the bias goggles, right, I think from the outside looking in, you look at kind of the project that San Diego FC is doing, and, we got depth pieces like Thomas Angal, and then you have Jasper Lawfulsend, and, like, you're kind of looking at these names. Are they the sexiest names in the world? No. Like, let's call a spade here. These aren't, the sexiest names. Why are you laughing? So it's like, let's kind of look at it, objectively, right? These aren't the sexiest names that, are coming into the locker room, but it's like, to what I was kind of saying earlier. And I think it's something that I think we have to emphasize, is that if you can get these guys to play for, the fans in the city and whatnot, then it's like that momentum, and how you're saying, kind of starting that hot streak is crucial, because then it's like how you're saying with St. Louis FC, how they just ran away with the league, and, maybe they dropped some points, but, it's a testament to how important a good start to the season is. And if San Diego can kind of capture, that lightning in a bottle, then, that'll be huge.
Yeah. I think we've built up, right? We're taking off the bias goggles. Let's go in the other direction for this final topic here. What is going to be the biggest area of weakness that you think might pull down this team this year?
You want to go first? I mean, I know you're
Yeah.
going to talk about the defense.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I mean, I've said, the whole time, the defense, right? Defense wins championships, and you're kind of looking at San Diego FC's back line, right? You got Franco Negri, who, my opinion, I feel like he kind of just got shipped out of Inter Miami, right? You got Franco Negri, you got Andres Reyes, who I think is going to be a crucial piece in this defense. He's a ball playing center back. I think that he can be the key to kind of unlock that offensive transition for San Diego FC, right? I think his ball playing ability is sensational. Kind of reminds me of like a Bonucci type player, right? Playing in those Juventus teams. But you also have Patty McNair. So it's like you have these strong personality type center backs, right? My only concern is the mobility, right? Because it's like, the last thing that we need is, someone like a Brandon Vasquez just running in behind, dusting these guys, right? So it's like, that's my only concern. So if we can set up the defense properly to the point where it's like, we have something that we can kind of rely on to, not lose the game, then I think that is something that, is really important going into the season. So the defense is my only concern going into going into this next season.
Yeah, for me, it's just kind of how brand new the team is, really. Like Chucky Lozano, like some of our best things that could work are things that we wish could work. But if they don't work how they need to work, it's going to crumble. And that's, I think, one of the biggest things. Like if they work, they work. If they don't, they are not going to work out for us. And I think that's the worst thing. And it's how brand new this team is, coming into a new play style. And honestly, we've been getting we still need more signings. That's one of the biggest things. We don't really have anybody, and it's only been a month of them officially training, which is insane if we think about it in soccer terms. These people are supposed to be learning each other, knowing each other, and we're about to throw them into a game against the
against the champs.
And if we're not all ready, I think that could be the downfall for SDFC. Like, you lose against LAFC, then you lose your second home game, or your first home game, and it's shambles.
It could get toxic.
You picking it up, and then you can already hear the headlines. Is Marky Varas a good coach? Did we do the wrong thing? Did we choose the wrong people? And once you get that mentality lost in there, I think that whole right to dream, the whole vision will break us. It could break us down. And then you have the people up top saying, did we make the right choice? Did we not make the right choice? Do we need a rebrand? It's like, you got to either believe the vision all the way through, even if it's bad, or you don't, and I think that's one of the biggest things that could be our downfall.
Man, one of those answers was like very, very down to earth, being like, yes, here's a reasonable, rational thought process about a problem that I've been talking about. And then Carlos, you're over there, and it's just like, everything could be terrible forever, and we all hate it.
Yeah, I mean, it is true, because based off of the reception that kind of San Diego FC got by hiring a guy like Mikey Varas, the negativity surrounding it was huge. This guy's a bum, who was assistant coach at the U.S. men's national team level, and he couldn't really, kind of make a name for himself. And, people look at that one game that he managed, right, where it was when Greg Berhalter, left and everything like that. People look at that one game that Mikey Varas coached. I think he lost or tied or something like that. And, people look at, oh, this is, the reality of what San Diego FC can be. But it's like, the truth of the matter is that, I think, again, if he can kind of get the best out of these guys, then that's what, is promising going forward.
You could just blame it on the San Diego mentality. I mean, we are gun-ho for the Padres all year, all long. They lose one game, and it's, I hate the Padres, never talk to me about the Padres, all these things. So it's just like, it's either going to be great or it's going to be terrible. There's no in between here in San Diego.
I feel like San Diego sports would really love Cincinnati sports because we're very similar.
Oh, for sure. The
It's like
Bengals.
the
Yeah.
Bengals. Yeah, Bengals are like 0-5 to start the season or something, and they'll be like, the Bengals are washed, the season's over, and then it's like you go 1-5, and
Yeah,
people are like, we're back, we're watch out, and then it's like if you go 1-6, it's like I
exactly.
knew it was fake the whole
Fire the
time. It's like
coach.
make up your
Start this whole
mind.
thing. Is Joe Burrow even good? Like, I bet.
Zach Taylor, as a Bengals fan, like I'm not convinced that
Yeah.
he's the guy, but we'll see. I mean, I guess it's either a fatal flaw or it's endearing to us, as we sometimes give people
Exactly.
too much rope in Cincinnati. So, all right, guys, we've been on for like going on now. I don't even know more than a day at this point because. But let me throw one off-topic question your way. You might recognize this one if you have been listening to other of these previews. But let's say, especially since you have just come in, you've seen the weaknesses of marketing in the league, and MLS comes to you and says, Carlos, Vince, we love what you guys do with the SDFC Bros. We think that you can revolutionize our marketing department. What are you going to do to get more eyes on the league? Whether it be like a gimmick, whether it be a legitimate strategy, like the total creativity there, like what would be your immediate response if they're like, you have 10 minutes to give us an idea?
The vision of SDFC Bros is what, and you should be familiar with this being an Arsenal fan, is Arsenal Fan TV. That's what we want SDFC Bros to be like. Our whole, kind of motto for SDFC Bros is giving the fans a platform, giving that fan, because football is nothing without the fans, right? And you see it, in Europe, these crazy atmospheres, Borussia Dortmund, Manchester United, these iconic clubs are only iconic, yes, because of the players and the history and whatnot, but also because of the fan base, how important, how crucial it is. So if we SDFC Bros can create that culture where the fans are, at the forefront of that and giving the fans a platform to, kind of have a voice, is super crucial. And that's kind of the vision of SDFC Bros. It's going to be similar to what an Arsenal Fan TV is.
Exactly. And I think to pick up even more from what he said, you have MLS is rivaling NFL, NBA, MLB, and something that's already built a culture. And they refuse, my personally, is to listen to the fans and to hear what the fans have to say. And when you have MLS, which has no technical culture right now, I believe that what we would start is, like, again, on the ground reporting, talk to the fans, do games with the fans, speak with the fans. I mean, like I said, we even do trivia games with the fans and just give out prizes and everything like that. And it's just reminding people what sports is all about. It's this community. It's more than just people playing a game.
I dig it. Even if my most vivid memories of Arsenal Fan TV are like the bad Emery and bad Arteta stretches, and then Arsenal Fan, yeah. And I remember Arsenal Fan TV from those most vividly, and I'm just like, oh man, like how do you be so miserable for like 2 years straight?
Oh
I don't know. Like granted, I was miserable, but like I can turn it off, I can be like, sucks, but is what it is for Arsenal. And like, man.
Right.
Ooh. I don't wish that curse on anyone.
I mean, look, I'm a Milan fan. I was going through it, and I'm still going through it, right? We call it the banter era, the time where, no Champions League, no Serie A championships and whatnot, so believe me, I get it.
Oh, I'm very familiar with banter era Arsenal. Awesome. Well, Carlos, Vince, I appreciate both of you spending way more time than I told you we were going to spend on a call together, and even more time coming up in the future to do some real justice to the story of SDFC and just talking about, like, even if it's early days, the culture, the fans, the stories, like what makes SDFC unique at a very granular level. So I hope people look forward to hearing about that as well. But in the meantime, Guys, where can people find you if they want to learn more about San Diego FC in the coming days, months, weeks, years, decades, lifetime?
Hopefully a long
however
time.
long.
Yeah, right. As of now, you
Right.
can find us on our Instagram, and it's pretty simple, SDFC Bros. And we're gonna start doing hopefully more like deep dives as the season comes in. Podcasts on YouTube again, SDFC Bros. It's pretty easy, username. But yeah, come check us out. Like I said, we really like to interact with the fans, and we want to hear your guys' voice. If you see us at any games or anything like that, please come out. We'd love to do an interview. We'd love to talk. We're always going to be doing games, cool activities. We're just really ready to be the voice of a fan, even if it's bad. We want to hear what you have to say. Please.
Awesome. Well, once again, thank you to both of you. I've had an absolute blast. I know listeners are going to have a blast. I know they're going to enjoy us going way off the rails in some future content as well.
Thank you for having me.
So,
thank you for having us.
All right, guys.
Really
it was an easy 3-hour conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's nothing I would rather spend multiple days.
Yeah, of course. Exactly. We have a good Saturday.
So,
I know we started in Friday,
awesome.
but...
Yeah, well, for you guys,
we can take it to our
yeah,
Saturday
still
as
Friday.
well.